Welcome to the International HPC Best Practices newsletter. My name is Aditi and I'm from the Pawsey Supercomputing Research Centre in Australia, and I lead the Centre's digital engagement space. This newsletter's edition focuses on building communities in HPC, and so I would like to welcome some guests from the Pawsey Supercomputing Centre here in Western Australia.
I'm the marketing and event manager at Pawsey, and so the Pawsey Supercomputing Centre is a national facility. We provide free supercomputer allocations and services to researchers across Australia and their partners around the world. And we are officially the happiest supercomputer center in the world, since we have named our new supercomputer Cetonix, which is a Latin name for the quokka, which is the happiest animal in the world.
Hi, my name is Anne Buckhouse. I'm the Education and Training Manager here at the Pawsey Supercomputing Research Centre in Western Australia. And as the title implies, I do training for users as well as outreach to secondary and tertiary students. And over to you, Maciej.
Hi, and my name is Maciej Cytowski. I'm the Head of Scientific Services here at Pawsey. So I have a great pleasure to work with our researchers and helping them how to use our visualization, data, and supercomputing services here at Pawsey.
Fabulous. Okay, thank you all for joining me today. Let's dive straight into it. Could you please talk a little bit about how Pawsey is building a community in HPC?
I think Pawsey is building a community in HPC in so many different ways. Since I think all the people that you have invited today have passion for connecting with researchers, connecting science with experts, connecting students and interns, and working in STEM. So I think connections is our core. But I think Cetonix has become an engine to accelerate all those processes within Pawsey. So supercomputers is not only accelerating science, it's also accelerating our opportunities to connect with researchers and with new partners and new users and new technologies. So I think you have three different perspectives here today. From the communications side, I think we are trying to build communities to stay in touch, to find channels to give them updates of what's happening and in which direction we are moving, and also to listen to that. We have host events focusing in specific scientific communities, and as a result of those events we are trying to build online spaces where we can stay connected with them, and at this point has resulted in Slack channels based on that community and HPC as a theme around that. We have created one for CFE, we have launched one for bioinformaticians recently and working towards the astronomy one, and we use it as work in one direction at this point, and at this point it's just to provide them with content and inform about future event changes that are coming in the system. But hopefully when they become more comfortable, and we are working towards that, we'll encourage more discussion for them to help each other. So I think that's the aim of those spaces at this point.
In the training space, when I think about how Pawsey is building a community in HPC, I think about the many domains that we work with. So when you think about HPC, I guess you can think about it as one big HPC domain or one big HPC community. And I think there is a technology community, and we build community around technology or skills around technology. But we also build skills within communities, within domains, because in the training space, when we're learning, say, about a particular technology, let's say containers, for example, we have a bit of learning that is about the general concepts, and then we also have learning that is more specific to the domain, so that we can use examples from a domain, so that when somebody is learning something new, they only have to focus on the new part of the technology, for example, in this case, containers, rather than trying to translate across domains. If I'm working with bioinformatics, using a bioinformatics example. If I'm working with radio astronomy, using a radio astronomy example, so that there aren't barriers to learning in the translation. So building community across a technology, for example, where we can, but then also taking that deeper dive where we need to build community within a domain or within a subset within that community. I think that that helps to make that community real and relevant and meaningful for users.
Thanks, Anne. I think that's a really good segue into the next question that I had for you all, which is, why is Pawsey trying to build a community in HPC?
Oh, I would love to answer that one. So actually, I think for me, it was always the most interesting in building these communities is across various, when we build it across various research disciplines. And surprisingly, HPC or supercomputing in general is a great platform that can be a very nice foundation for such multidisciplinary collaboration between various computational science researchers and disciplines. And this makes Pawsey and other centers like Pawsey a special place where we can actually host those various groups and organize various events, as we do throughout various Pawsey activities. And especially now in the context of the new system that we'll be installing, that's even more important, because we have more researchers that have similar challenges working with the new technology, preparing to use that new technology, and they can obviously learn from us, but they can also learn from other groups. And us being facilitators for such interaction is one of the key roles really for Pawsey, and also opportunities that we must use. Those various groups have various challenges, and because of that, it's not only technology challenges, but also things like looking at actually what it takes to scale, or what it takes to take your research to a totally different scale. And in that respect, we can also be a great hub and interface between research and technology, in terms of we have our own networks connecting our researchers to vendors or other supercomputing centers or supercomputing community in general, to engage those researchers and learn also or share their experiences with other groups worldwide. This is also unique.
I think I really love aspect of what you were talking about, Maciej, and that being that in some cases we're the experts providing the training or upskilling from a training perspective again. And sometimes, often, we're that bridge or we're the facilitator, because the community itself has such a breadth and depth of experience that pulling on that, and that's the beauty, that's the power of a community, is that breadth and depth of knowledge and that heterogeneity, if you will, of the community. It's not a homogeneous community. There's so many experiences that everybody is contributing and learning from, and it makes it be a really powerful means of going forward. It's
definitely. Yeah. That's why we are working in supercomputing, because of how diverse it is. If you look at those various challenges that researchers have, and learning about their science and requirements to meet their science goals, it's actually what we do.
And I think it's also the beauty of see that synergy that happened between them when you are the facilitator, because I've been rehearsing for our events, and then you see that they start collaborating on the screen, where they just have seen each other for the first time, and probably it's the first time that you have the time to listen what the other one challenge is or what they're working, and they have answers to provide and an experience to share, and they become all excited. And it's funny because when you speak about this out of academia, people say, well, there are so competitive among each other, and they are so worried about their IP. And when you see them in real world having interactions between them, you find out that it's a completely different story. So we are really lucky to be able to witness and be, in a way, the one who encourage and facilitate those opportunities.
Nice. So as we take on that role of being the facilitators and trying to bring these different groups together to make that one larger community around HPC itself, what successes and learnings have you found in this community?
I think some of the bigger lessons that we've found, or that I've found, especially in the training space, and there are quite a few communities. If we look at the Carpentries, which is a global as well as local as well as national, a really good experience as well as a national training registry and calendar that is putting together a national training calendar, multi-institutions, many working together in an amazing collaboration nationally, with input from international organizations to guide us along the way. I think the success and lesson is that the success is that we have a common goal. We have common things that we want to achieve. We have common outcomes. We have a space that we share that we're passionate about. And whether that's one goal or disparate goals, but they're in the same, they're driving in the same direction. And having something meaningful, authentic, and to find that spot where you drive community is the passion, right? We are of sharing and contributing and watching something grow, and sometimes you're giving, sometimes you're taking, and that's the whole beauty of a collaboration and of a partnership and a community. Is it's all of those things with a lot of different people for something that is of importance to them.
And I think another success has been seeing what we are providing, having the opportunity to listen from them, the opportunities that we are delivering. Because some of the conversations that has been put forward as part of the community of practice building exercise that we are doing from the comms perspective, it's how the future looks for those communities, and let them discuss and think blue sky, but also for us to find out where should we be moving towards, or if we are moving towards the right direction. And it's exciting to see that we are all aligned, and there is opportunities that has been enabled for what we are bringing, and there's more opportunities that we can facilitate by working more in the human side than the technology side, and that has been beautiful to witness.
I think I would also mention that we have also seen, with the obvious numbers of participants of various events, and also the response when we wanted to build some of the community of practice, is that we can say that we clearly see the need of building such communities. But I will also get back to my previous thought about this multidisciplinary approach, and the fact that you can bring multiple disciplines into collaboration when you build certain events. We've in the past we've organized an event, a hackathon, which was initially targeted at bioinformatics, but we had a lot of radio astronomers joining the event as well, because it turned out that they are using very similar, or their needs in terms of tools are very similar. And just having them in the same room and learning about the fact that they actually have very similar challenges in terms of data processing and building of various workflows on supercomputers and other components of our infrastructure was actually pretty interesting. And again, that kind of thing can happen. I would claim that that kind of thing can only happen in places like Pawsey and other supercomputing centers, where we can actually organize such cross-discipline events.
Thank you all for your contributions to this video today. Some really common themes that I found when I've been talking about building communities in HPC is this shift from providing training and engagement to a community, and then seeing who is interested in it, to actually listening to those communities and realizing that these are their topics of interest, or and then addressing those needs instead, and kind of changing that conversation, which has then driven this convergence of research and technology, and really recognizing the humans behind all of these communities as well, and that interest, and then putting communities of practice in place to bring those groups together really well. That's really helped solidify these foundations of various communities into one in HPC as well. So thank you for your time and your insights into this topic.